Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16. I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Graham Doty and Jay Greeson. Today we preview the Athens Baseball Regional of the NCAA tournament, where we've got Georgia, the host, followed by Duke, the two, in the Devin Ovey Revenge Tour. He's now in Athens. I say revenge tour. He was a grad transfer. I'm not saying there's any hard feelings there. But anyway, we get a rematch of Devin Ovey, Georgia outfielder, and his old team, Oklahoma State, where Josh Holliday snuck in this thing at the last minute, and Binghamton, the 4 seed in this regional. Graham, if you like power hitting, we're going to get plenty of that between Duke and Georgia, and it may just come down to who can out-homer who in this regional.
Yeah, and that's what Foley Field is certainly known for. Nobody has more home runs in the country than Georgia does. Duke up there as well. They got 99 as they get ready to head to Athens. That's towards the top in the ACC and in the country as well. So makes for an interesting matchup. Like Coach Pollard, it seems like he's settled in at Duke for the foreseeable future. I know his name was on the Mississippi State head coaching list for at least a hot second there. So all of his attention is going to be in this regional. Then you got an Oklahoma State team. They were one of the last teams, one of the last 4 in, right? Mm-hmm. So they just kind of sneak in, as you said. Cowboys close the regular season really, really strong, which is why they find themselves in this situation. So fun regional, and kind of reminds me a lot of the Ole Miss and Oxford one. Just if you like offense, this will be the one for you.
I think this is not only over-unders in double digits throughout the week. This will be real interesting to see in terms of the conference chest beating. And I know we normally get the SEC chants across football and even basketball more than baseball because of the clear divide. But Duke's a sneaky, tough matchup for Georgia, in my opinion.
I agree. I feel like Duke and Georgia, the two teams that jump off the page. Let's talk about the others for a minute. Binghamton, just kind of a nondescript offensive team. They don't run a lot. They did hit 70 home runs. And their power, right-handed power, I know that the fence in Athens is shorter to right, but it really gets out to left, where it's 450. And feed the trees has become saying for a reason. They do have a little bit of right-handed power, does Binghamton, but the pitching situation just not very good. Hayden Tarsia, their best guy, 67 innings, a 4.97 ERA. He's going to need to pitch the game of his life to hang with Georgia in that one. Just don't see it. Oklahoma State, maybe a little bit sneakier than meets the eye, and here's the reason, guys. Harrison Bodendorf, their lefty starter, 87 and 2/3 innings, 2.77 ERA, didn't give up a lot of runners, strikeout rate of 28%, free pass rate of 9%. Those are great numbers, and 1.7% home run rate. So keeping the ball in the park in Athens, a key. They've also got, let's see, 2 guys in Hunter Watkins and Sean Youngerman who've thrown a lot of innings for them. They both kept the ball in the park, home run rates 1.5 or lower, ERAs of 5.40 and 2.08 respectively. Youngerman in particular looks like he's kind of a bulk closer, had 4 saves, but threw 52 innings. So Oklahoma State has got some arms in spots that I think could make this interesting. So, but before we just throw this thing to Duke and Georgia, that might be worth unpacking. Oh, by the way, speaking of power, I don't know if anybody in the country's got more raw power than Nolan Schubart. Lefty who's got power every single way. They also got 11 from Braden Smith, 14 from Colin Brueggemann. Look, guys, Josh Holliday's coached a long time. Knew him a little bit when he's at Vandy. Really liked the guy. Don't necessarily count out the Cowboys here either.
That's especially true because, man, oh, man, what is Duke going to do? I mean, almost all of Duke's – some of these games are going to take 4 hours because we know Georgia – is not afraid to make a pitching change or 16. And then you look at Duke, and their most frequent starters are 4.9 ERA guys or higher. So if Oklahoma State can throw out an ace in that 2-3 game, that's where Duke's not only vulnerable, but even if they get by it, how many bullets do you burn to just win the opener?
I think you got to do whatever it takes
Agreed.
to win that first one.
Completely agree that you should, but I mean, other than Reed Easterly, it has been a staff by committee for Duke to the extreme. I mean, I don't even know who they'd start game one, to be honest.
Yeah, this gets a little bit more interesting as I dive into it. If Oklahoma throws Bodendorf, who's a lefty, if my notes are correct, then Duke, Jake Hyde, lefty, AJ Gracia, lefty, Jake Berger, lefty, Ben Rounds, lefty. Those are four of their better hitters. No, they've got Miller and Albright are righties. They had great seasons. I mean, this is a really balanced lineup. And that could present some challenges for Georgia down the line too, because it's a very right-handed heavy pitching staff. They don't have a lot of great lefty options, especially out of the bullpen. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that throws this into a little bit of confusion for me.
Yeah, you bring up Ben Miller. He's the first Duke baseball player since 97, 98 to be back-to-back first-team all-conference selections. And his numbers, you could put them up with anybody in the SEC, 323 average, 18 home runs, 58 RBIs. So, you know, he has been phenomenal for Duke. This is kind of a regional for me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to pick Georgia. Don't really feel great about it. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke fights their way out of this one and wins it, just because this is a team that can slug their way just like Georgia can. And I know Georgia has been really, really good in Athens. I just think the difference for them, like when they go against a team that can also swing it like Duke can, you got two teams that are right at 100 home runs and more. In the case of Georgia, I just think that benefits Duke in this situation where they one swing of the bat, they're right there.
I completely agree, but man, oh man, look at Duke's pitching numbers. I mean, it's staggering that their pitching leader in starts, guys, which screams to me, unless it was because of injury, is Andrew Healy, and he's got a 7.29 ERA.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds more like an opener situation. And their rotation their top three guys were all lefties, which doesn't match up very well against Georgia, which is right-handed power heavy and has platoon options. Yeah, the more I look at this, I don't know what to do with all this, okay? Because Duke, like the style, the home runs and all that matches up great for Athens, right? And I watched them a little bit in the ACC tournament, and they sting the ball. Like even when they were making outs, they were hitting the ball really hard. So you got that on one hand. And again, you got Oklahoma State lingering back here with better pitching than you'd think, man. A 4.33 staff ERA. Now, they gave up a lot of unearned runs. So that could be problematic. But, I mean, man, between Bodendorf and some of these other guys, Youngerman, like those guys can cover a lot of innings. And, again, if, say, you can erase Duke, and put them in a loser's bracket situation. And we didn't talk about Georgia's pitching guys. I really trust Curley and Finley. Those have been really good guys, and they have some other talented options. Georgia's got like 18 guys that can go 95. But effectiveness kind of waned. Power arms don't always equate to big success because these guys are used to seeing velo all the way down to travel ball. So Oklahoma State and that pitching with their top guys is a little bit of a fly in the ointment here. Honestly, I could see this going where you've got some lower scoring games, and then we get to Sunday, and everything's 14-12 everywhere you look, and even into Monday.
Well, how much do you put stock in Oklahoma State? They won their last 3 Big 12 series, which is a big reason why they're in the tournament now. So, like, how much do you put in a team as hot as they are?
I didn't used to put as much stock into it, but now with the transfer portal and not knowing your rosters as well, I probably put more into it. What I put more stock into, I mean, I think it matters, right? That might be a team that's figuring out, but I look at the top end arms here, and that's the part that makes it interesting, is just, do they have the depth beyond those guys to win more than that? And I don't know.
Here's something else that jumps off the page to me in looking at stats and trying to get a firm grasp on Duke. Duke only had 6 saves this year. Their opponents only had 4 saves, which tells me, for all the experience they may have playing in the ACC, that screams they did not play a whole lot of close games.
You know, one thing I hadn't noticed to now either, and I'm looking at ground ball rates, and this is a percentage, not of balls in play, but just of plate appearances. And so, like, the ground ball rates you're going to see are higher than this. Reed Easterly, 31% of the plate appearances against him resulted in ground balls. That is really low, and 21% strikeouts. So over half the time, the ball is you're either not putting it in play or you're putting it on the ground. That's a great recipe to pitch in Foley Field. Gabe Nard,
he must be a sinker ball pitcher, a closer that's a sinker ball pitcher.
Well, he's not only a closer, he's got to be a guy who pitches whenever it's all right, we now got to win the game, because he did not start a game and finished 8-2 with a team best 4 saves.
Right.
So, I mean, it's 33 games and 60, and he pitched a team best 64 innings, Graham.
Yeah. So that's a guy, like, he can go 3 outs to potentially 3 innings. He's one of those guys, which is valuable in a regional.
Well, and it gets more interesting too. Gabe Nard, righty, 31% ground ball rate. Now, the guy you don't want to throw out there is Owen Protsch, who gave up home runs 6.3% of the time. That's not good at all, especially in Athens. And the staff as a whole gave up home runs 3.9% of the time. Again, that can be disastrous at Foley Field. But you've also got this dynamic where a lot of guys, put the ball on the ground too. And they've got some other pretty decent ground ball guys too. So this one, just the more that I look at it, you got mixed signals all over the place.
Which makes it interesting.
It does.
Which is why, like, again, I wouldn't be surprised if Duke is able to come out of Athens. I definitely think they're going to make it to the regional final against Georgia. I'll pick Georgia, even though I don't feel the warm and fuzzies about it.
Well, I'll give you a little fortune cookie wisdom right here. What's one of the adages? And I know I'm giving advice to the guy who won our picks contest up and down in 12 ways on Tuesday. Don't pick against Georgia and Foley.
Georgia at Foley Field, and that's exactly where I'm going, Jay Greeson. When in doubt, don't go against Georgia at Foley Field. So we unanimous?
We are.
UGA.
All right. Going to be an interesting one for reasons we just outlined. We will be talking about as the tournament goes. Check out our live reaction shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday if they're still playing baseball, which I suspect they will be. For Graham Doty, Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you again soon at Southeastern 16.